Because of you, because of how passionate that you are and that you were in our interview, I feel inspired and motivated. Your passion has trickled down and it's contagious. And now I feel like I can speak up and maybe answer some questions my damn self and share a little bit about why I started this podcast.
Very glad you decided to do an interview for you. My question to you, Ava, is, of course, we have had, we have the same family. We have the same struggles when it comes to our families and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And same struggles, a lot of the same struggles when it comes to our lives in general. Ava,
Right.
I want to know how you have remained such a pure, beautiful soul through all of this. Like what in your mind, like, you know what I mean?
I feel like Spider. I feel like my friend Jordan, who's like, stop giving me compliments.
Stop.
Okay.
I want to know so that I can learn how to do this, so that I can stay just as positive and as beautiful and as wonderful as you.
That's the interesting thing. I feel like this is just going to be us cycling compliments back and forth because I continue to see you as a bright and positive person despite some of the things that we've dealt with our family. So it's a tough call. It's funny to me hearing you say, like, you're asking because you also want to take note, but it's like, what, girl? You still positive out here in these streets? And it doesn't seem like our family circumstances have gotten you down. I think it's just a way that I'm wired. I have to admit it's more spiritual to me than I can explain. If there is a creator that reached into me when he was making me, when when they were making me, I think there's a wire that's connected that's like, all right, no matter what you go through, I'm still going to make it so that you love people and you're compassionate about humankind as a whole. I'm still going to make it so that no matter what other people do to you, say to you, do at you, whatever, you're still going to see that there is this glimmer of hope or this tiny little candlelit flame that shines within a person, and it's every other part of life that affects that flame or like covers it. Yeah, girl, we got to talk. Because you mentioned our family in your question. I can't help but think that our family also went through something as they grew up, that made them react to life the way that they do. And the same way that we have our struggles and the way that we have our experiences and we navigate through them, our family members had their own set of struggles before we were even thought of, before we were even born, that are affecting their thinking and the way that they react to life as life happens to them. So I guess it's just an open-mindedness and an understanding that's there to just know, like, just because our parents had abusive parents, and that's just me speaking transparently about like my mother's background. Just because my mother had an abusive parent, which made her the type of mother that gives tough love rather than soft emotional love, that doesn't mean that it's my worry to then judge my mother for being a tough love mother. I'd rather flip the coin and go the other way and be understanding to the fact that she's just doing her best with the cards that she's been dealt. You know, my mother, aside from the occasional like pop on the mouth because I said that word. Like, I don't know. Nice. The point I'm making is my mother has never laid a hand on me, ever. So to know that she was a victim of such a physically abusive household, and that she could have then taken that and turned that into the way that she disciplined her children, and she chose not to. That to me says that my mother did some internal work, and as the next generation, I'm now doing that same internal work. Caring more about your spirit, you know, like I said, you posed the question like, yo, we've been through some stuff. We got some stuff going on. How are we staying positive and bright out here? Got to take the time to turn inside. And when you see that dark thing or that ugly thing, I'm just like, oh, I don't like that. Even though it exists, even though I feel it, I don't like it. I'm not going to let it, you know, emit. I'm not going to let it radiate outward.
Yep. I feel like you kind of got to like pick and choose. Like, obviously everybody has their demons, but I feel like you got to pick and choose which ones you like, not suppress, but like keep inside to like nourish, to make into like more positive, and there's other things inside that you let radiate out. And I feel like you do a really good job of like, you know, keeping, because everybody, like I said, everybody has demons, but like keeping your demons in and making them better rather than letting them like affect other people, and then you let your good qualities shine always. Because literally, you don't understand, Ava is literally the literal most ray of sunshine. Like in the end, it just
We're not gonna do this. I was just calling Allie a ray of sunshine, and now you pop on, and now you're calling me a ray of sunshine. So like, I don't. All the sunshine everywhere.
We have a lot of light in our lives. You know what I mean?
Seriously, and we are blessed for that reason.
Absolutely.
Listen, thank you so much for popping on and asking that question, and for letting me see your beautiful face, because I miss it.
I miss you so much. We gotta hang out. All that.
Yes, let's talk. Let's hang out. I really appreciate that question. I think I'm gonna keep thinking on it. I have a few other things that I'm thinking of.
I want to see the full answer for later. Like you
absolutely,
and all that stuff. All right, Ava. Well, I love you. I can't wait to see the episode.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you, girl. I'll talk to you soon. Safe travels today. I went to school, received my degree in elementary education, and the classes that I was able to take in things like child psychology, child development, those are classes that I love the most. And I have a love for how people are wired, hence my answer. And Spider made sure to come online, you know what I'm saying? Spider was like, oh, before I hop out the car real quick, let me come through.
That was so fast.
I really, really have to give you kudos, even though you don't like to take compliments. But it's true. Just by you being yourself, and just by you filling me in on the kind of person that you are, I am inspired to finally speak up and speak on the person that I am. And I definitely would not feel that way if not for all of the interviews that I've been doing. Yours is absolutely included.
Would you say 2020 has changed the most about you in a positive way? And then what would you say has changed the most about you in a negative way, if anywhere at all?
That is such a good question. In a positive way, 2020 has allowed me the time to get in touch with myself again. I can't speak for everyone else. I feel like I can speak for what I call the Northeast Corridor. This triangle of New York City, Philadelphia, Baltimore, DC, everybody up and down the East Coast, we're workaholics to a certain extent. Like, we're constantly moving. It's conditioned. It's built. I'm sorry. I'm on a high right now. It's natural for us to feel like we have to constantly be on the move, constantly be doing something, constantly be working. There are people on the West Coast that do not necessarily operate that way, that literally hire folks from the East Coast specifically because this is how we run.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people. I was a nonstop worker. I'm wired to feel as though I have no value unless I'm doing something for someone else. And that someone else very much so includes any boss of any job. It's ingrained in me because of my father and my grandfather that if I'm not working, what am I worth? Which, to a certain extent, is a little toxic, but okay. So the time that I had to be like, all right, yeah, you're a workaholic, but stop, inhale, exhale. What makes you happy? What's giving you the energy to continue to work all of these jobs? What are the things that are fulfilling to you, et cetera, and make sure, oh, Tori just came in the room. Oh my God, Tori. Hey girl, what's heck? So that time to turn within and remember, all right, I'm a creative first. Music is and always will be my first love. Whether I was writing the music, dancing to the music, playing the music, listening to the music, that is my thing. So to just stop and get back into playing the guitar the way that I did in the beginning of the pandemic, or, you know, curating my own playlist of my own favorite artists like I've been doing, these are all things that I didn't allow myself the time to do. In a positive way, giving me the time to create the podcast and hear from people like yourself, hear from people like Tori, the beautiful illuminated heart that she is. And remember that there's so much light in the world, focusing on the light instead of the darkness, especially being as though it was 2020. That helped me to not forget that the light is there, because that was very easy to do this year.
Yes.
The other side of your question, the negative ways that it has impacted me. I'm going to be very transparent. I'm a little scared. I'm a little fearful of how we come out of this scenario socially. It feels like because we all have had so much time to ourselves, so much time to turn inward, are we now a little more hesitant to connect with one another? Or, do we get in person? I spoke to my best friend just last night, and she was very transparent with me about how she has gone out in public and she's caught herself like not looking at someone directly in their eyes when they're talking, which is so true and so transparent. I get it. I totally get it. And just that feeling of, oh, I kind of forget how to have this conversation in person because we've been so hooked on or so involved in how we can converse via technology because of how this year went. So I just want to make sure that that same feeling of physical connection will be there when we come out of this thing, when we can be around more people or when we can be closer to more people.
The last one's a great answer because I never thought about it from a social aspect, like coming out of it. But I think because for me, nothing changed socially, like at all.
Yeah.
So I never had to think about it from that perspective. But now thinking about it, a lot of people are going to be messed up socially.
And what's crazy is so many people, because we live on the East Coast and because we were workaholics the way that we were, so many people were already forcing themselves past how introverted they may have been or how much social anxiety they already had.
Right.
So now having the time to be more to themselves, the fact that they don't have to go out into the office, et cetera, who's to say, like, if we do end up having to go back out into work the way that we did before March of 2020, are we now dealing with a surplus? Are we now dealing with more anxiety than we may have had before because we have to get over or through that obstacle course all over again?
No matter what, I was like, I'm in the health field. So it's kind of like I saw the numbers. I played the statistics game a little bit.
Right.
I mean, like, yeah, I was places without masks, like all of us were. But in places where I'm like, all right, cool, I don't know anybody here, and there's more people than I'm used to, I'd wear a mask. But as far as like limiting my traveling, going out, who I'm around, I left that up to everyone else's discretion. I was open and willing to still try to live life as normally as possible within the confines of safety rules and not overly exposing myself to any risk. But you don't know if you're doing that anyway. So I think for my own social sanity, it was very much do what you want to do and live as normally as possible, but protect yourself at all times.
Right. So I'm going, because you brought up what you do for work, this is amazing. Can I please bring Tori on the screen?
Yeah, hey Tori.
This out. Tori Parko. First of all, I love you both so much. Okay, so Tori, this is Spider. Spider, this is Tori.
So I'm a behavior analyst, which means that I help children with autism and related disabilities learn new skills that they need that they haven't learned yet.
So wait, Jordan, do you do the exact same thing?
The exact same thing, yeah.
There's just so much beauty in the world. You both have such amazing and beautiful jobs. I can't take it. Okay, so the organization that you currently work for, Tori, and Spider, also the organization that you work for, have you heard of one another's companies and things like that? What's the name of your company again, Tori?
Neurabilities. So we have Voorhees and Balakinwood and King of Prussia, and we just opened Cherry Hill.
I work for Devereaux Advanced Behavioral Health.
And I've heard of Devereaux. That's a really big company.
Yeah, Devereaux's like in 17 other states as well. So.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Mhm.
I love it, but I also love to hear that Neurabilities is growing. You said the Cherry Hill location is brand new. So Neurabilities is gonna be on Devereaux level one day.
Yeah,
who knows? The companies might merge because people like Spider and Tori connected on Instagram, you know what I'm saying? Started their own little side hustle joint where there's more dancing and fitness related activities for all the I'm done. My job here is done. My work here is done. Spider, I really appreciate that question. I will end up thinking on it more after this. I know I will, and reach out to you before days end. But
yeah, we'll talk about this more.
We will. Thank you so much, and I love you. Love you.
Love you too, Tori. You're dope. Stay dope.
I wanted to ask you, like, when was the moment that you knew that you were going to do the Mirage Pod, and really what came up? How did this happen? How did this happen?
Wow. That's my favorite question ever in life to answer. And it could be a very long winded question. Um, so, long story short, my grandfather and I had a relationship like no other. I consider him to be a soulmate of sorts, a twin flame of sorts. Everything that I learned about my grandfather as he and I continued to get closer and closer, just further confirmed that we were like the same person, just in two different bodies. There's no other way I can explain it. His experiences, although we were 50 something years apart, we shared all of the same experiences and all of the same feelings about those experiences. So it's like, you know how you could sit down with a grandparent and be like, I'm the oldest of three siblings, and here's how my parents are treating me. And that grandparent could say to you, get over it. You're fine. This is just what you have to do. So many grandparents that would reply that way. Well, this grandfather replied with the same exact feelings and reaction that I had toward being the eldest sibling, or some things that I was going through with my parents at the time. I would tell him stories, and his immediate reaction would be to like giggle and laugh and just be like, wow, it's just so funny hearing you say that, because I was in the same exact position and I felt the same exact way. And who is God? Who is the creator? Who's running this show to go ahead and connect you with somebody who will always, always, always say back to you, I feel the same. I feel the same. I feel the same. Your feelings are valid. I've been there as well. I feel the same. Like, this person was not my blood grandfather. I met this person because my dad literally was running for office and knocked on his door sometime in like the 1980s, you know? So when losing him, even prior to losing him, it dawned on me years ago, before he got too sick, that our conversations were so beautiful and so valuable that they needed to be recorded. So even before he got sick, I have about 10 hours of conversation between he and I recorded. And the idea of a podcast was not on my mind at that point. It wasn't until losing him that I realized everything he had to offer. Like, I need a way for things that are that bright and beautiful and valuable to reach out further into the world. I can't keep every conversation I've had with him confined to little tiny Magnolia, New Jersey. How can this reach more people, because it's so valuable? More people need this, period. I feel so strongly about putting this energy and this information out into the world. It just feels like that's my purpose. Now I need to figure out exactly how I'm going to do that. And doing a podcast, doing a radio show, doing a vlog, a YouTube vlog was an idea for a second. And just utilizing the platform, utilizing technology to say, hey, if you need inspirational information, just click this real quick. If you are feeling down, if you are feeling like you are not valuable, just click this right here. I promise you that John Latany Sr. says something that will help get you through. I promise you that Ravi Sinarain, Ivana Sinarain, Khalif Bussy, Mir Bussy, I promise you that Tori Perko, Spider, I promise you that Jade Brown, I promise you that if you click these links, somebody is going to say something that helps you get through or over or past this thing.
I wanted to say, oh my God, Ava, I just watched Soul last night. Have you seen it yet?
Not yet. I'm probably going to watch it today. I can't even imagine. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. Well, then I don't really want to ruin it, but you're just reminding me of how, like, all anyone ever really wants in life is to be heard and to be seen and to be understood. And that's really, like, I'm gonna cry. It's like the purpose of our lives is to see, hear, and feel other people while also like being seen, heard, and felt.
Right.
That's all that ever really matters when we get to the other side, whatever that is, whatever people believe that is. Like, if all that you could do is see, hear, and feel other people, you've made an impact on this planet.
Right.
And the fact that your grandfather did that for you and that you are carrying his legacy by doing that for more people than even, he did that for one person and probably more, but you're doing this for tens of hundreds of people. I know that you are. It's just so inspiring and it makes me want to cry. And I'm like, oh my God,
I
it's
know.
just
I'm
so
like,
exactly what life
I'm okay. I'm
is
okay.
all about.
Thank you. I love how evident it is when we connect that there is a light or just something bigger at work, you know? Um, because even now, there are certain things that I realize. Anytime I answer a question like that, the answer is never the exact same. And even just in answering your question, it feels like something more has evolved from the way that I experienced making this podcast happen. So that's beautiful, and I'm gonna have to process that and cry a little later on over that one.
It's crazy how one knock on one door can turn into somebody else's twin
Right.
flame or soulmate or another half of their soul, It's incredible. Yeah, I feel really full right now. So full. Honestly, like over this holiday season, I spent some time reflecting, and I know that you are absolutely a part of this. And I was just kind of like thinking about every single person that I've ever come into contact with and how they've molded me and shaped me in some sort of way that's turned me into the person that I am today. And I just was like
Right.
so overwhelmed with gratitude for that.
That's so beautiful of you. It says so much about your spirit to be able to reflect upon, the ways that you've been influenced and how much you love yourself. Listen, I just want to let you know, I love you a lot as well. And I'm sure many, many, many other people do. It's just like I hear you say, like, I'm this
Oh
person
my
and I
God.
love this person now. And I can't help but just to reply with, I love that person too. I truly appreciate you. We probably will expand upon this conversation. There's plenty more to talk about. And just every time we have an exchange
Yes,
of energy, beautiful things come of it. So I look forward to the next time we speak.
me too. I can't wait. I love it. We just bring so much light out of one another. It's incredible.
It's amazing. Talk
Thank
soon.
you.
Thank you so much for taking the time to come on.
Thank you for having me. Love you.
Love you too, girl. Talk to you later. What? That was beautiful. Look at that. This is a present from Allie. You know her. You love her. And if you don't, you should go back and watch her episode on the Mirage Pod. This girl, she brings so many beautiful things into a person's life. Allie reminds me of sunshine. Let's go ahead and read her question. How has the Mirage Pod influenced your daily life? How has it helped you during the pandemic? Also, what has been your favorite part about doing this show? It's impacted me in a bigger way than I thought it would. The Mirage has impacted my daily life by making it so that I am constantly thinking about and hearing about beauty and inspiration. When you search for these methods of getting motivated, being motivated, being inspired, you have the classic, oh, well, just write everything on a post-it note and stick all the post-it notes around your house and on your mirrors and, drink more tea and read more books and self-help books and da 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 da. Having this podcast has become one of those things where my mind is more often than not, fixated on how beautiful another person is or how inspirational another person is. So because they say that if you do something for 21 days, it then becomes a habit, I'm conditioned now. I already was the kind of person that's like, people, I love people. People are so beautiful. They all need to have their voices be heard. And, all people are amazing. And even if they're not, don't worry, they're going to be soon. We'll make them, you get what I'm saying. My mind is fixated on how beautiful other people are at all times. It was already like that, now even more so, because now I feel like I've created a platform, something tangible, something with color, something that expresses and is published. It feels like I have to constantly be doing that. Every second of every day, I'm like, how can I tell the world that like Allie is so amazing? How can I tell the world that Allie is the most compassionate and caring and beautiful person ever? How can I tell the world that every time I've seen Allie go through something negative, she comes out on top, growing as a person, being more successful, being more resourceful because of this situation? Like, I've just seen it up close and personal for so long now. I love how that just turned into well, let me just highlight Allie answer. Because you deserve it, girl. All of the advice and encouragement and inspiration is burned in my brain, and it's incredible. Like, who's to say this is my equivalent of the sticky note thing. Instead of having sticky notes all over my apartment and on my mirrors, I have 16 podcast guests that are like always on my mind because I just want to treat them like family and constantly support them. 16 is now about to turn into 24. So come spring, there's going to be 24 people constantly on my mind because I constantly want to make sure that those people feel valued, magnified, amplified. And on top of that, their advice, everything that they're about, I'm that much closer to it. Bringing people into this podcast creates another level of intimacy, another layer of intimacy between that person and I, if you ask me. And what's interesting is I see it that way. The other person might not see it that way, and that's totally fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. We're all going to perceive and experience these things differently. My personal experience with having this podcast is that by interviewing you, by creating this space where you can be open and honest and vulnerable and transparent, now I'm receiving and feeling and exchanging with you something that other people may not be, something special, something unique, something that other people may not care to dig into you and love, and ultimately love. So I consider these podcast guests to be people that I find so special that I want to peel back a few layers. And if there are other people in your life that didn't care to peel those layers back and see the light that shines within you, then that's that friendship. To me, if you're a podcast guest, our friendship is now, I value so much what's inside of you. Let me acknowledge it and let me amplify it. And I find myself thinking like that even more naturally than I already was. It was so easy to be so down, especially because I am an extroverted person, a social person. So this definitely bridged that gap. This was the way that I was still able to get to know people, connect with people, and ultimately fall in love with people for who they really are, which is all I ever want to do. So it gave me that thing. Like, it's one thing to have something to focus on. This is something that my whole entire heart and spirit is in. It just so happens that this is the thing that someone I consider to be my soulmate gave to me to do, if you really want to get super spiritual. But so this is not just to pass the time. This is, I finally have the time to do what I feel was spiritually set out for me to do. That is how this has helped me get through the pandemic. I'm almost like, pandemic, what pandemic? If it wasn't for the crazy nonsense happening with my career, then I'd be like, pandemic, what pandemic? Doesn't feel like a pandemic. It just feels like the time that I had the time to tell people how much I love them, to create a platform where I get to tell people how much I love them, to create a platform where I get to tell other people to love this person the way that they deserve to be loved. Right now, my favorite part is connecting the beautiful folks, because you take one candle, you take the other candle, don't put them two wicks together. You got a bigger flame, baby. It burns brighter. Let's go. Somebody write that down somewhere, please. So that's my favorite part right now, seeing the brightness get brighter. But in general, my favorite part is the part where the people I'm interviewing feel that it's okay to be honest and transparent, and that they are going to receive love and respect and support from me no matter what, no matter what, no matter who they are, no matter what their experience is. That's the whole point of this thing. But that actual feeling, I can feel when it happens in the midst of an interview, in the midst of a certain conversation or topic that we're discussing. I can feel when we cross a bridge of, oh, not only did you just let me in, but you let me in knowing that I'm not going to hurt you once I get there. Or you let me in knowing that I'm now going to support and comfort that thing that you gave to me. I love that part because it's so honest and true to what my purpose is or to what I want to give other people. I love the light within you, even though you can't see it, even though it's hidden beneath your experiences, your actions, this, that, and the third. I'm like, oh, look, a human. I see the light within that human, even if they don't. I love the part where it's like, hey, 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 right here, right here. I see it. It's so dope. I love it. I want to support it. I want to hear more about it. I want to give it value, justify it. Like, I'm at a loss for words. It's hard for me to explain because I feel like no words will do this justice. So yeah, I definitely, I know I answered the question, but it's hard to explain because I know that there's more that I could be saying. There are more words that I'm at a loss for because it's a big feeling to me. It's huge. So thank you, Allie. Sarah, how are you?
I'm good.
Wait, take a step back because I really love the Zaya kettlebell shirt.
Me too.
And yeah, Sarah and I both have an affinity for the sky, the stars, the moon, the sun, all of it. So the fact that you ended up associated with an organization who has the moon as the logo, that's so awesome.
I know, it makes me happy.
Such a dope logo.
My question to you is, what surprised you most about the podcast?
What has surprised me?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. I gotta think on this. Some part of me is surprised with how open everyone has been, how transparent the conversations have gotten. I think because I promote intimacy the way that I do, I know that I personally would have desired for intimacy and vulnerability in the conversation. But I think I'm surprised by how other people have also viewed me. I'm surprised by the way other people have come into the interviews and been so open and vulnerable and trusting of me and the platform. So it's like I expected for the conversations to be great and awesome, but I didn't realize that everybody would be like, well, I trust you and I see you're in light, and I think that it is worth it to open up and share with you my experiences. And I mean, the fact that people have been open about just like suicidal thoughts or, their lowest points, near-death experiences, all that stuff. It's like, you didn't have to fill me in on those things. You didn't have to tell me how you truly feel deep inside. But everybody's been doing that.
Oh, no,
which
that's
is
a good
a reflection on my own self-esteem. But
no, that's good though, because you can control what you ask and who you ask to join you, but you can't control what they say.
yes.
Which I know you learned as you did the interviews too, is like you can't control how they go, but to be positively surprised.
Yes. I just thought of another answer. I'm also, on a lighter note, I'm surprised by the podcast community. I had no idea it was a thing. The podcast community is crazy. They're all so awesome. Shout out to 12 Kyle Podcast. Shout out to Autumn the Aries. Shout out to the Harga Halftime. Shout out to Get B, like Get Red from Get B Podcast. Like, I had no idea that all these podcasts were out here doing the thing and being so successful and so supportive of one another. It's a whole culture. So that shocked me. And one day I'll be worthy enough to be a part of that community and culture. One day.
You already are. You already are. Check that
I appreciate you. I appreciate you for thinking so. I would like to bring Evan on the stream and see if we can get a fit life fist bump real quick. Yeah, I'm saying, look, you're next to each other. Make the fit life fist bump happen in the middle of the screen.
What are we doing? Which way are we going?
Okay.
So we gotta
There we go. Boom. There it is. There it is.
I love you both so much. So right now on one screen, there are two people that are dedicated to making sure that other people are healthy as they could possibly be, not just physically, but also mentally. And that is why I invited you here, and I needed the world to hear what you're about, what your mission statements are. So this is so cool, like just having everybody come together. It's dope. So Sarah, thank you so much. I love your life.
Thank you.
I'm definitely calling you later. Yeah, we're gonna talk.
Yeah, I'll talk to you later, but have a wonderful rest of your chat.
Thank you.
Bye.
Look at what.
Yo, you're both so dope. Like this is so amazing. Hello,
I hopped on right on time then.
Yes, you did. How are you today?
I'm blessed. How are you feeling?
Amen. Also blessed. Super, super blessed and very grateful for your time, for your energy. I appreciate you hopping on. You could be doing anything else. I've been saying to each person, like, the only reason I'm even doing this is because the inspirational information from every interview, that was a nice alliteration just now. The inspirational information from every interview is burned in my brain. And I feel like because of people like you, people like Sarah, people like Tori, people like Spider, all of the advice you guys gave in your interview, I'm also thinking about it all the time, or wanting to make sure that I'm spreading it out into the world because it is such valuable information. So I thank you, because if not for you telling me to be, my most true self, to believe in myself, to trust that I have a place in this world just as I am, then I wouldn't necessarily feel like my story is valuable enough to share. So I appreciate you.
No problem.
Mm-hmm.
So,
what would you like to dig into? What layer would you like to peel back? When you texted me and said you were preparing questions, I got scared.
Oh, yeah, no, don't be afraid. Don't be scared. My first question for you was, is who are you?
I knew you were gonna do this. Is this gonna be, see, really what's about to happen is Evan's about to have his own podcast where he
I had to come prepared.
You did. Evan said, "Who am I?" Are you familiar with the book The Untethered Soul?
I've heard of it, yes.
Do I have it? Is it right here? Untethered Soul is definitely nearby somewhere. And in the first chapter of this book, the whole thing that they're trying to establish is people being asked, "Who are you?" And their answers are like, "Oh, I'm a dance instructor." Yeah, that you told me your job. You didn't tell me who you are. Oh, okay. I'm the oldest of 3. Yeah, you told me that you're an oldest sibling. You didn't tell me who you are. I am a radiant spirit living in this physical realm, this physical body, working on being my most authentic self every day.
Okay, I like that.
Is that the right? Like, is that who I am?
I don't believe it's any right answer. It's how you feel. I asked you who you are, and if that's your most authentic answer, Okay, so my second question, right? Did you finish answering that one?
Yes. Thank you.
Now I feel like the roles reversed, and I feel like I'm on the spot as the interviewer. And this is weird.
I love it. I'm gonna have guest interviewers one day, like Ellen DeGeneres. Just bring the guest on.
Yeah. All right. So my second question is, what is your purpose?
My purpose is to love.
Just that's very. I like it. That's it. That's very direct.
That's it. Straight to the point. My purpose is to love.
Boom. I like it.
Thank you. We need to shout out Evan Harden for coming on to this stream and shutting everything down. Like, hold up, we just gonna make sure she know who she straight up is and what she straight up put here to do. And if ever I forget, I'm gonna be able to go back and watch this. I'm gonna write the answers down because right now I feel like I'm talking to Deepak Chopra. I don't know what to tell you. Like,
that's a dope. I like when you say your purpose is love. Could you elaborate on that?
My purpose is to see the light within people and acknowledge it and support it and care about it. Would you agree that the opposite of love is hate?
Like just in a direct answer, yeah, I can say.
Okay. So it feels like my purpose is to abolish all things that stand for hate or hatred. It feels like my purpose is to be able to see darkness and infuse love and light where that darkness is.
Mm-hmm.
And even if that darkness is not receptive of the love that I feel I'm just made of wholly, then that's like not something that I can control. Yes, we're all human. We have our dark moments. I experience my dark moments and still try to flip them into love and understanding, an educational experience. How can I still be love regardless of the sadness, the darkness, the pain that I'm feeling? It's just like, it's the only thing. It's the only mode my brain is in.
Mm. So, if you don't mind let me say, like, to summarize, your purpose is to be able to be a source of love and be able to spread love in this world.
Absolutely.
Okay. And that's very similar to my purpose, which is, use the gifts and talents God gave me to spread His message of love. That's what I feel like my life's mission statement is. And so, and you elaborating on your purpose of spreading love and making sure that the healing power of love is spread, and you have become a source for it. So my last question would be, what are you willing to do, or what are you willing to do to make sure that purpose is fulfilled? I've known you for quite some time, and I know you've done so many things in teaching and singing, doing a lot of things that just all your talents, you've just been sharing them and to help other people. And I know you're going through things on your own, and this road is can be very difficult because you're gonna have a lot of friction, a lot of things that are gonna give you pushback. But how has this journey solidified in you what you're willing to do to see your purpose fulfilled?
I feel like the concept of taking risks happens in levels and in layers. So as you were just asking that question, I thought about that first time that I felt as though I had to take a risk in order to walk in my purpose.
Mm-hmm.
At a certain age, I knew that living at home was dampering who I really was rather than supporting who I truly was.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, I took the risk of upsetting my parents, upsetting my father, not being communicative and being upset with me, simply to just move out and live in an apartment that was only 15 minutes away from them.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember that was the first time I I made what was considered a very big decision just in order to walk in my purpose and be myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like my answer is I'm willing to take risks, but you're also calling me out because now I'm thinking about some of the risks that I could take right now, and I'm just like, Lord, do I have to do it? Anyway, willing to take risks, willing to listen to others that also believe these things and are in this place to learn from them. Willing to dedicate time and attention to it, which is something I know I struggle with, which is something that is going to change, and it's going to change very soon because I kept this stuff nearby on purpose. I got this, I got this, I got, oh wait, let me pull this one out. Hold on, wait. I got, I dropped Instagram. I got this.
There you go.
I got those. Like, it's just like, but all along, my human self, my earth self, has had to get through the insecurities that society has put on me.
Mm-hmm.
Putting in the work is the ultimate answer to your question. Putting in the work to get over those insecurities. Because once I get over and through those insecurities, I now believe that I am worth the time for this. Mm-hmm. And I know that this works further, like closer to that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's work. I'm willing to put in the work. I'm willing to dedicate the time to do that work. I'm willing to be open-minded and listen to other people that will help me also get further along that path and attain those things. I hope this answered your question. It was a good question.
There's no, I believe, when you find your purpose in life, it is like for me, when I found my purpose, it was like that I made a commitment in that moment to that purpose and understanding that this is for life. Like, yeah. There's no rush to it. Just do it because this is your life. This for life. Mm-hmm. And you can't put it like people rush things when they don't necessarily have a purpose and just have wants and they feel like what they want is not coming fast enough. But when you're living out through purpose, all the things start to come your way, and it's just for life. It makes it so much easier to wake up in the morning and do things. So when your answer is just your commitment to what it takes to make sure you're able to push your purpose no matter what, and learning how to take risks. It all comes with it. The more, like, every time something happens for you, the more that solidifies that you're on the right path. It's just going to be so much easier to say, that risk is so much worth it because it's for my purpose. And it's not even a risk no more. It just turns around the other way. You're risking your purpose when you do the other thing. So, like, that's pretty.
Wow. Yeah. For real, y'all. It's like Deepak Chopra just popped on my joint. Like, you just hopped on here and shut everything down in the most spiritual way, which is exactly why your voice is valuable and necessary. And I appreciate your spirit so much.
Oh, no, I appreciate you. And no, all right answers. Further you get, the more you'll tune those answers. They'll just be sharp.
Amen.
Right up the top.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much. You're absolutely right. I really needed to hear what you said. It's like you're either taking the risk for the purpose or you're risking the purpose. What?
You bring it out of me. I promise you, I don't sound this enlightening all day.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Listen, if you didn't sound this enlightening all the time, how would I have known that your voice needed to be heard and that you needed to be on the show, Evan? Ha, ha, ha. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
We'll talk soon. Yes, you're more than welcome, but I'm very humbled by the time you just took to hop on and help peel back some layers. So We'll talk soon. I definitely got some more stuff to say about all this stuff, man. Oh my goodness.
Yes, I look forward to you putting this all together. And yes,
Yeah.
all right. Enjoy the rest of your day. Happy holidays.
Jade Marie Brown, the best educator ever, is here. Hey, girlfriend. Thank you for taking the time today. Like I said, you definitely could have been doing other things. I appreciate you hopping on, but the most important point I've been sharing with everybody that hops on is that if not for your interview where you did speak so truthfully and so boldly, if not for how inspirational you were, then I definitely wouldn't feel inspired to be the kind of person that like expresses myself and peels back the layers of myself to be intimate and vulnerable as well. So this all has come full circle. You can ask a lot of my close friends that knew when I was first starting this, they mentioned like, oh, you should be interviewed. And I would like shudder at the thought. And I'm like, no, I should not be interviewed. I'm just here to interview everybody else. Meanwhile, time goes on. I end up with 16 different conversations about being motivated and encouraged. And now I just can't help but be motivated and encouraged and feel like I deserve, I truly value the opportunity to amplify your voice. So now it's like, all right, maybe I deserve for my voice to be amplified too. Just a little bit. Just one time. One time for the one time. This is it. So thank you for being you and for being a part of this family and this platform and speaking to me the way that you did for your interview. It was very meaningful.
No, you're welcome.
What aspects of self-determination am I using today to grow? Honestly, my favorite one, like point blank period, when I hear that question, I think of self-speech. Knowing that we can have more control over what's happening in our minds. Everybody struggles with self-speech in their own unique way. For some people, for people with certain types of anxiety, it's the fact that they can't control it, and that is their struggle. And, they are seeking help to be able to do so. For me, I know that my self-speech was more negative. It was negative more often than not. So even when it came to like starting the podcast, for example, amongst other things, saying to myself in my head, you probably shouldn't do this. Who really wants to hear from you? Are you really going to create something that anybody cares about? Are people really going to want to just talk to you for an hour or two about their lives? That self-speech was so negative for so long. And then slowly but surely working on still hearing that self-speech, but actively responding to it and cussing it out and shutting it down. That has been my self-determination. I've been determined to do that inward work that is, all right, you're not about to sit here and tell me that I can't do something. Let me at least do some work and figure out what I need to line up to further act on what I want to do or what I need to do. And eventually getting to the point where even if those negative things come into my mind, it's like they can get shut down quicker now. It's a skill that you can practice to hear yourself down yourself in your head and then more instantly be like, no, we're not even going to think like that right now. Let's see how many positive thoughts we can replace that negative thought with. So I've definitely been doing a lot of that even prior to starting the podcast, like going through the pandemic. You can do that about everything and anything. When it comes to the pandemic, everybody's jobs being up in the air or jobs being crazy and insane. It's been so easy to feel like, how can I get through this? Am I just going to have to let this pandemic steamroll me over until it passes me by? Like all those negative feelings, but then trying to combat the negative feelings with positive thoughts.
But that is so you, though. Like as soon as you said self-speech, all I could think about was affirmations. So you were just telling negative affirmations and like speaking that light into you, which it was a dark light, but it was there. And like now that you have changed your speech, you have like a brighter speech. You know what I mean? Like you're coming from a more positive place, a more trusting place, like within yourself, because they are affirmations.
Yes. I didn't even think about tying that word together with it, right? Is there a negative affirmation just like there's a positive affirmation?
Yes, there is a
negatively affirm something, can't you?
There's a pull to every push. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes.
You should do tarot readings over the podcast.
Okay, so you should not have even said that. You should not have even said that because I think about it. I wouldn't do tarot readings. It's
well, not like that, but you know, your thing.
Can we just stop and talk about how much I love you real quick? Real quick, I just want to talk about how much I love and appreciate you. Everybody thinks astrology is this taboo, whimsical thing. And I just want to tell people it's not. It really is scientific. There really were ancient Mayans, Greeks, Romans.
Ideas off your head right now about this.
Wait, what did you say?
I could bounce so many ideas off your head right now about this.
I'm totally going to call you later because, yes, I love you. Thank you again.
Love you too, Ava. See you.
All right. Bye. All right. Don't cry. Don't cry. Don't cry. Don't cry. Don't cry. Gratitude. Gratitude. Gratitude was implemented into my life in a very purposeful and specific way. There are two things I can think of. There's the concept of my parents giving me something and like not saying thank you. You know, the thing like you're 4 years old, you just don't say it right back kind of thing. Well, when I was 4 years old, if I forgot to say thank you, I got smacked across the face. Or, you know, I just was reprimanded. It was acknowledged. Hey, yo, you didn't say thank you. You're going to give this back. We're going to try again a couple days later. Like, it was enforced. That's like the surface level way that gratitude was enforced. In a deeper way, and I love my parents for this. Both sides of my family, they're so different, but one of the beautiful qualities that they share is just being connected to one another, no matter how far apart they were. If anybody did anything for you, they received a phone call where you purposefully, where you specifically acknowledge being grateful for that person. Like, for example, let's say my aunt in the UK, like, mailed us a Christmas present. No matter the size of the Christmas, it could be a card. Oh, okay, let me drive the point home. It could be a card. Okay? If somebody sent a Christmas card, who sent that card? Oh, no. Better than that. Get all the cards, pile them up, go through every card, make every phone call. And you're calling that person and you're saying, I don't care that it's just a card. So happy to receive it from you. Let's talk on the phone. Let me express my gratitude for just you as a person thinking of us and sending us a Christmas card. My parents were very intentional about teaching us how to be grateful. Thank you to anyone that has sent positive energy of any kind in the direction of me, in the direction of this podcast. I am grateful. I'm glad that I gave you some insight on what gratitude truly means to me and for me. Just so you know, it's real. And cheers to 2021. May the new year bring health, prosperity, happiness, hope. But most importantly, love.